All right, go for it.
Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever in the heck in the world you are. It's the one, the only, the Senor Silverback himself. And this is an inaugural broadcast, so I'm actually excited. This has been weeks in the making, folks. Weeks in the making. The first broadcast of Cuss with Gus, with none other than Gus Demos of Perpetual Assets. Gus, what's up, man?
I got your email before, so I have the amount of times I have to drop an F bomb here. I have the amount of times I have to.
Yes.
Yeah. So I have the list. We have our quotas down. I'm ready to go.
All right,
Ready
good, man. As long as you got the quotas, because, good deal.
Hey, how you been, man? It's been a couple weeks.
Dude, I'm doing good. It's like I was saying before we went out live, man. It's hot here in New York. It's a great day. So far so good, man. I can't complain. It's just the rest of the world's gone to shit.
Yeah. Well, I was telling CJ before you got on. I just got back a couple days ago. I was on a 2 week Europe trip.
Did you see a lot of jihadis?
Well, and I'll get to that. So
Uh,
I just turned 40 last week, so I had my
Happy
midlife.
birthday, man!
Dude, one foot in the grave, the other on a banana peel, buddy.
Oh man, that's it.
No, so I look, a couple of months ago, and like it hit me. I'm like, shit, I'm turning 40. So I booked a 2 week Europe trip. Not real. I did Paris for like 4 days, Rome for 4 days, and Athens for 4 days.
Nice.
Not realizing I would actually be in Paris on election night, which I was.
Oh,
Yeah. It was a lot of. I'll tell you a little bit about each city if we have time to go into it.
yeah.
But
Go ahead.
so,
Let's run with it.
so I get in. The election was on Sunday, which again for us is kind of weird, awkward to comprehend. But
Sure.
it was on Sunday. I get into Paris on Thursday, and Friday and Saturday kind of just did Champs-Élysées and the Louvre and the sites. It's a beautiful city, awesome. The first observation I made is that, and it's my second time going to Paris, and I love the city. The people hate life and are pissed at everyone, but the Parisians are very bitter people, but in a good way. It's kind of funny. The at the Louvre, here's my first observation. 50% of the people, and for those of you who haven't been, it's just the most awesome museum. It's ridiculous. Everything, whatever you want, they have it going back, from Egypt to Greece to Rome, etc. So, but inside the Louvre, 50% of the people, and this will tie into what we talk about with capital flight and capital flows. 50% of the people inside the Louvre visiting were Asians. Either
Wow.
it was incredible, and I hadn't been back in like 7 or 8 years, but it was either Chinese, Japanese, Korean, etc. Like 50% of the people, 100% of the people outside the Louvre, either peddling umbrellas. It was raining on that Saturday. Either peddling umbrellas or those cell phones, the selfie sticks, whatever the hell they're called.
Yeah.
100% of the people outside selling that shit were Middle Eastern or Muslim or whatever.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was an observation, like, to let you know the wealth that has gone into Asia the last 5-10 years. That these people are all like vacationing in Paris, and they're at the best museum in the world, and blah, blah, I saw a bunch of them at the hotel, and I went into like the original Ritz-Carlton for a happy hour, and it was all fucking Asian people.
Wow.
Which, yeah, I don't say in a bad way. It just tells you it wasn't like that 7-8 years ago. It just tells you where the wealth is going.
Yeah, absolutely. The wealth has gone east.
Yeah, it blew my mind, and I was like, wow, I don't remember it being like this way at all. And everyone outside of the Louvre, it was just like we said, Middle Eastern Muslim people peddling whatever, peddling an umbrella, peddling this, and same thing with all the poverty you see that I saw anyway in my 4 days there was all like Middle Eastern, migrant poverty.
Wow.
So that was the first observation. The second was that after the banker won, who was, is married to the 80-year-old woman.
Yeah, he's married to an 80-year-old woman.
It's something real messed up where she was his teacher. Everybody was like,
ew, no.
Yeah, it's like straight up like female pedophilia shit going on. Yeah, so she was his teacher when he was like 15 or 16, and they claimed.
Oh shit! You're not kidding! Oh, I just picked up a picture of her.
Yeah, no, dude, she's got like 25 years on him or something.
Holy smokes! Well, shave
But
the beard, bro. That's what it is.
dude, they started honking their horns on Sunday when it became official. Like, so
Ew,
it was.
You're not kidding, dude. It says from teacher to lover. Ew.
Yeah, no, it's the whole, dude, the guy's a banker. Like, the whole story is just like total elitist, whatever. Dude, you have an oligarch banker. Like, it's like a Goldman guy, right? So it was, I never thought I'd see socialists celebrating a banker. So it's a very liberal city, a very liberal country, and these people were all like excited that Le Pen lost. And again, they're very, and I thought socialists and collectivists were all anti-banker, but I think they're so terrified of the nationalists winning. You know,
because that's so much worse. You know, that's so much worse.
Well, she's the female Trump, right? So she would have just started cleaning house and blah blah blah. So that's the last thing that. But again, it blew my mind. It was a sight to see. But flew out on Monday, then went to Rome. In Rome, at the Colosseum or the Vatican, the Asian equation thing kind of probably shifted to like 20% Asians if you go to the Colosseum or the Vatican. Still a lot, but not as many in Italy, not as many Muslims, not as many I didn't see them to the extent I saw them in Paris, right. Which I don't know what the logic is there. I don't know if the majority of them are going to France and Germany and definitely Sweden, right? But it wasn't as bad. It wasn't as bad as in Rome whatsoever.
Dude, Macron, there's something about Macron. This guy is not into chicks. I'm telling you, dude. They've decided not to have children. She comes from a family of chocolatiers, bro. Dude, oh my God! You can't write this stuff, man.
Well, nothing's going to change in France now. I think, and here's what I could tell you. Rome was awesome. The people are very friendly, etc. But here's where it gets really interesting. So in Paris, everyone's pissed. In Rome's everyone's friendly. When you get to Athens, dude, and I speak Greek fluently. It doesn't matter if you're talking to a waiter or a fucking taxi driver or whoever. They like normal people on the streets. I'm not talking about people like econ PhDs.
Right.
They'll start like screaming about the fucking IMF and the ECB and their own government. So like the Greeks are very friendly, except for if you're a banker or a politician. Which the reason I bring it up is because there's some stat I heard where I don't know if it's 40% or 50%. Once your rent and food take a certain percentage of your income, yep. people start to lose their shit. The populace and the masses start to go apeshit crazy, and yep. that's already happened in Greece.
Yeah, I think it's like 60%. I think it is.
Dude, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. They have had their balls chopped off. The masses have become educated. Could you imagine walking down to a local bar in wherever the hell you are and start talking to what are the chances your waiter could start talking to you about monetary policy or government bonds?
Sure, nothing. Zero.
Yeah, because
they can tell me how large Kim Kardashian's ass has gotten, but that's about it.
Yeah, and that's when I realized like this country hasn't hit that inflection point where the masses actually start to be able to discuss fiscal policy or monetary policy or shit, the shit me and you talk about every day. Like the common people are starting to do diligence on it. Where a country struggles, they actually, after enough bullshit from the bankers and politicians, they eventually figure it out. They're like, all right, now you guys are totally fucking us over, and now we've actually figured out who. Lagarde shows up with her purse telling everyone we're going to tax you 70%. They eventually start to figure it out. So that was what blew my mind about Athens. Like the fact that within the minute they realized I was Greek and I could speak it, they just start talking your fucking ear off about politics and banking and finance and exactly what's going on.
Why do you think they don't do nothing though?
Dude,
they're going to drop the entire muzzy migrant population in Greece.
In Greek, he said the two of them said the same thing, a man and a woman. They said, "Opion valome mesa masgami." That means whoever we put in, they fuck us. So they vote it. They vote in the Nazi. They vote in the commie. They vote in the liberal. They vote in this. Whoever they stick in there ends up screwing them. Like they do the exact opposite. So they put in, Giannis, who's like a University of Texas econ professor, and yeah, exactly. And so it doesn't matter who they put in there; they end up just screwing them. But they meet with the boys, the EU or the ECB or the IMF, and they're singing a different tune a day or two later. So they're going to reach an inflection point where it's going to turn physical. I see the country going to physical war or civil war and up in arms. There's no way. Everyone I talked to has just started fucking bitching within 5 minutes. So
wow.
No, it's bad, dude. Like, right, taxi drivers, the hotel concierge, waiter. It doesn't matter who you talk to. Everyone's just freaking out and pissed, and they've been this way for like 5 years. So something's got to give. Like, and I don't know what's going to be the first domino to drop, but something's going to go.
You think it's going to be another reign of the colonels all over again?
Yeah, man, it's hard to determine it. Very rarely when governments get overthrown or a coup occurs or a civil war occurs, it's hard to point to one other than ours in the US in the last 250 years. It's hard to point to one of those where liberty has emerged on the other side. It's usually tyranny that emerges on the other side. So, the military will get together, or the oligarchs get together, or a powerful group comes together. They either coerce it, kind of like we saw it here with the Tea Party. We saw it here with the Occupy Wall Street. Like the oligarchs get in, it becomes mainstream, and then all of a sudden the oil boys are financing it, or the bankers are financing it, or whoever's financing it. It's hard to have an organic, liberty-loving coup or overthrow or civil war occur. Again, I don't know if I could point to one other than the U.S. Revolutionary War in the last 250 years. But
I can't point to one either, man. I don't. Geez.
Yeah.
Syria's not technically a civil war. It's a coup. It's an insurgency operation. I think they just had a fresh bombing this morning. Yes. You're right. They did have a fresh bombing over there.
I try to keep my finger on the pulse of everything that was going on while I was gone, obviously, and it seems like we're still talking about the same bullshit domestically, the Russia thing and Comey and all the rest of it. So
France puts in the Rothschild banker who has his teacher as his wife, who comes from a chocolate family.
France's prime minister is now a pedophile victim.
He is. It fits though. I mean, but isn't this? I was looking at this from a philosophical standpoint, right? When you look at what we've become in the West, right? Eventually, because of the hard-fought sacrifices and the battles that those with our like minds have done, we are the true classical liberals. Okay, and when we got to the point where we've brought a nation thus far, and now you have the loony left that have kind of taken over pretty much the entirety of Europe, and they're making inroads here in the United States in select cities, and they're spreading like rampant. But if you look at the left, isn't that what is the ultimate outcome of the left? That they hate themselves, they hate their own culture, they hate their own country. They're just the most miserable people you've ever been around.
Well, yeah, they're not only self-loathing, but they're professional victims. They have a hard time, and this goes into the whole cultural Marxism and postmodernism. I don't know if you've been following any of his stuff, but the guy he was just on Joe Rogan last week. The guy's brilliant, Jordan Peterson.
Oh, I missed it. Yeah.
Intellectual heavyweight. I think McGinnis has had him. Everyone has had him. The guy's been blowing up for the last 6 months, but a lot of people go into it. Stefan Molyneux goes in. Once you actually grasp cultural Marxism and postmodern, the scam was very simple. In the 60s and 70s, all the left, they could no longer ignore, after the Gulag Archipelago was released by Solzhenitsyn, they can no longer ignore that communism and Marxism was just a death cult of evil. They're like, this is evil, you become a slave, government commits democide. So they had to shift the narrative. They had to shift it from economics, which Marxism is based on. They had to shift it to culture. And there's only two sides. It's the oppressed and the oppressive.
Correct.
And if you, yeah, exactly. Economics goes out the window, and it's the oppressed and the oppressor. And it's a constant state of victimhood. They want you to believe that you are, unless you're a Western Christian white male,
right?
Yeah, heterosexual. If you have a wife and kids and a business, you're the devil. You stole it. I'm like,
but if you're married to a woman who's 50 years older than you and from a chocolate family, you're okay.
They're going down the list. It doesn't. There's just they're struggling. So we've come to the point where the oppressed are now transsexuals. Which, dude, I'm a libertarian. I don't give a shit what you cut off your whatever. I don't give a shit. It's none of my business, dude. Fine, go ahead.
I self-identify as a flying squirrel.
I don't care who anyone bangs. I don't care what you smoke. I don't care about your money. It's none of my business. I have my own business. Right. What I do care about is when you employ the government to point a gun at me and force me to accept it or call you. You have the opinion to think you're a unicorn, and I have the opinion to think you're insane, or I have the right to think you're insane. It's freedom. If I'm not hurting you, leave me alone. I can think you're insane. It's okay. Just like
words hurt, Gus. Words hurt, and we need safe spaces.
More than anything, the last 6 months or last year, I have realized that the primary function or the primary importance might be linguistics and speech, because they try to dominate. They try to dominate the speech, the narrative, the linguistics. They try to dominate the way we talk. They try to dominate what we're allowed to say. Everything could be labeled hate speech. Everything. It doesn't matter what you're talking. If you're talking about war,
look at Canada, man. You can't even say Islamophobia, bro.
Dude, and that word is it's a word created by charlatans to brainwash idiots. Like you are allowed to be proud of. It doesn't matter what you come from or your heritage, and unless you're me. Like, I can't be proud. If you could come from a Turkey where me and you always joke about they denied the Armenian genocide,
right?
So you could be proud of being a Turk, and the Armenian genocide is never talked about, but you can't be proud of being a Greek Christian. You can't be proud of being English because of colonialization. You can't be proud of being German because of the Nazis. You can't.
Oh, that's right.
So they've demonized everyone else. If you're allowed to be proud if you're gay, you're allowed to be proud if you're black, you're allowed to be proud if you're a woman, you're allowed to be proud if you're this. But if you are a straight Christian white male, you are the enemy. Everything you have, you stole. It just goes against all rational logic and the philosophy of individualism, and judge each person by their actions, not by, like they don't want you judging them or stereotyping them, but they want to be able to judge and stereotype you.
Yeah.
Having never met you. So I don't know how it plays out, man. Like, it's the fact that these people have to, like, an after. How the hell do you even pronounce that? Those
Antifa.
And half those Antifa people are like professors and teachers and shit. Like, dude, it's insane. The fact that these are the people teaching our children and the next generation. Like, there was that like little Antifa woman. She was like a little Asian woman.
That crazy psycho.
Dude, and she's like an 8th grade teacher. Like, she's teaching 12-year-olds and 14-year-olds. Like, it's insane. The country kind of put its foot down with Trump, but I don't think it's enough. I think
yeah, dude, I agree with you. I don't think it's enough. I think, we can't. All right, Trump's saying let's just all kick back. No, we need to get active.
They still control the media. They still control the deep state. They still control finance. They still control the schools, colleges, and public schools now. It's just been infested with liberal cultural Marxism, where they want to be able to just brainwash the next generation. But I don't know the validity of it, but everything I've seen is that Generation Z, like the younger generation coming up, is more on our side. They're more conservative. They're more libertarian minded. They lean that way. The millennials are a lost cause. Like, they are a lost cause. dude, just total useless pansies, like robot zombie pansies. Like I can't even speak to anyone who's, and it's a damn shame, but they're going to be the ones who, like, if you're in your 30s or 40s or 50s, that's who we're handing it off to. Like, all right, time for us to retire. Let these sniveling pansies take it over. Like, so the fact that you have to
all deserve a trophy.
Dude, it's so bad. I have no idea. So
what other miserable country did you visit in Europe besides France and Greece? Where else did you go?
Italy. So it was France, Italy, and Greece. Yeah, and Italy was, dude. Italy was, it was my first time in Italy, and it was awesome. Love the
Italians still have their balls, bro.
Dude, I was telling CJ, I'm like, what I loved most about Greece and Italy, you can't really make this argument for France, but Greece and Italy, men were like still men.
Of course, they still got their balls.
Yeah, no, men were still men, and women were women. It wasn't like a bunch of
androgynous.
Either bitter blue-haired feminist or selfie Kardashian, retards. It was just men were men and women were women, and it was
you want to know something, dude? Here's something funny for you. There was some research out, and this was on a feed on one of my news things that popped up. There was interesting research. Look, there's a lot you can tell about a society by the music that it listens to. Okay, number one, and number two, how much pornography it consumes, what types of pornography it consumes. That is all indicative of the social health and well-being of a nation. Now, the reason why I bring that up is this: the most dominant type of pornography that is in France is cuckoldism.
Really?
Yeah, dude, heavy, and it's not just it's like interracial cuckoldism. It's imagery of North African, Middle Eastern men ravaging white women. Those are like the biggest selling points, the hottest things in large cities in France. It's disgusting. So these men who have been absolutely feminized, okay, they will sit there, these androgynous, self-loathing cucks would sit there, and then they'd have no problem where their restaurants are getting blown up, nightclubs are getting shot up, their women are getting raped, and they're just like,
go ahead, bang my wife, and I want to watch.
And I want to watch. Go ahead. Have my wife. Here, take my girlfriend. Have my wife. Let me watch.
Bang my wife. I'm gonna fucking eat some butter and watch.
Like, I'm gonna take the butter and just rub it all over me as I watch.
And like I told you, the shame of the matter is that Paris is such a ridiculously beautiful city. Architecturally, it doesn't matter if you're talking about the architecture or the buildings or the roads. It is an incredibly beautiful city. But like I told you, the people in Italy and Greece are just night and day from the Parisians. The Parisians are
Mediterranean blood, bro.
Well, dude, I think, and I'm biased, obviously, but they don't. You could tell. Have you ever been to? Dude, you're in New York. You've obviously been in New York City. You know how you go into the liberal hipster think of Brooklyn on crack right
Dunbar,
now.
North Brooklyn, right? Exactly.
That's Paris. Everyone's wearing the tight jeans. And all the guys, all the guys smoke like women, and it's just oh god, and it's just they don't look like men. They're like you said, they're feminized liberals, and you could pick up on it right away. And I use Brooklyn as an example, but that's the one that jumps out.
Man, the hipster Dunbar, Brooklyn, the Williamsburg, that whole area, dude. It's totally been ruined. It's totally been gentrified. It's totally been gone. It's like come to if you want to go to the real Italy, go to the one in the South Bronx, man. Go to the one in the Bronx. That's the real Italy. There's still some machismo there. I mean, come on. I mean, it's terrible.
They'll still kick your ass if you pull any shit, and they'll do it without covering their face.
Oh, easily.
Dude, you could pick up on culture very quick. Within a night or two or a day or two, you're like. Yeah. It doesn't matter if it's how they speak to each other, how they interact, how they dress, all of it. It's pretty transparent when societies right away. And I don't know. The French have always been and again, this is going to sound kind of me stereotyping, but the French have always had
Just saying, they've always been pussies.
Yeah, they've always had that stigma about them that going back the way the English versus the French dressed 200 years ago is significantly different. So yeah, the French have always had that about them, but it's Europe. Europe is awesome. I hope they don't. I hope they don't sack it. I hope here's another fun fact, because you use this phrase so in Rome they still talk about the barbarians sacking the city, and so they use the phrase barbarians. They use the phrase barbarians in Greece too. But in Rome, when they're saying barbarians, they're talking about the Germans.
What in God's name? Wow.
Because the Germans are the ones that sacked the city in 500. In Greece, when they're talking about in Greece, when they're talking about barbarians, they're talking about the Turks.
Yeah, talking about, okay, got it.
Yeah, like the crazy. But
everywhere else they're talking about Hannibal and the Carthaginians and all that, right?
Exactly right. But have you been before?
No, I haven't.
To Europe?
No.
It's beautiful, man. It's for history, for knowing European history.
I mean, I've been to the UK and I had a stopover over at Frankfurt, but UK is pretty much, I have family out there and stuff, but that's about it.
Yeah, I've done London before too. London's a fun town, although it costs you $20.
Zurich. How can I forget Zurich? Sorry about that. Go ahead.
Zurich, Switzerland. Money. That's a good place for money too, obviously.
Yeah, it's a very quiet, very weird place. Nobody talks to each other. You sit on a bus, everything's quiet. Nobody talks. Nobody looks. It's just odd, man.
So
very sterile.
What I will tell you is, it doesn't matter which of the countries that I was at or which country I've ever been to, is that you definitely see the wealth and the way people live shifting from west to east.
Yeah.
And you have business dealings in Hong Kong and Singapore, so you already know all this, obviously. But money is definitely moving from west to east. Capital goes where capital is welcome.
Exactly, and where it's treated well.
Yeah, exactly. So when you start hunkering down with regulations and inflation and taxation, etc., the deep pockets just get the fuck out of Dodge. They say goodbye, have a good one, take care. And that's why you see all these cities in Asia blowing up. That's why you see all this new infrastructure. That's why people bank in Hong Kong and Singapore now instead of Switzerland. Or hold their metals there. So that's where the future might be. Europe is beautiful, and I don't know if I would set up a business there. I don't know if I would bank there. It's where I would go to drink coffee, get drunk, and smoke cigarettes and tell jokes.
Right.
I don't know if I'd keep my net worth there.
No, definitely not, man. Especially like my thing is, like, I've seen pictures of Paris, pre and post migration, and pre was beautiful. Post, I see so many areas now that are all tagged up with graffiti and whatnot.
Ghetto,
did you see that?
Ghetto, dude. Yeah. Dude. In all three cities, you saw that. So. Yeah, but they've convinced, and I think this whole, dude, half of Paul Joseph Watson's videos talk about this. They censor the people to not being able to say what's clear as day. Like, it doesn't matter if you're talking about the crime number, the rape victims, the crime numbers, the attacks, whatever it is. If you speak up about it, like, you're labeled, and most people won't just want to go with the crowd or go with the herd. They have a hard time saying, what the fuck is going on here? Like, they're raping our fucking women.
Right.
Like that's kind of a problem. I mean, do you have wives? Do you have daughters? It's kind of a problem. So most people don't want the propaganda coming out of, like, Sweden. Have you, like, seen all the Swedish stuff where they won't even let reporters go in there, and you can't. Sweden has all these laws. You can't even speak about it. It's literally illegal to even speak about it.
What is up with these crazy psychopaths?
Dude, they're total social justice warrior liberals that if you really strip away all the bullshit, I think it's as simple as voting demographics for them. They know how if you give them enough government goodies, they will simply they'll vote liberal, whatever party, depending on what country you're in, whatever party that is. So I think they're just trying to totally hijack the voter demo. Dude, it's the same shit they're doing here. Like, do I really think all these warmongering psychopath fucks, like they commit war and murder all over the world? Do you think I think they give a shit about refugees or Mexican immigrants? Of course they don't. But what they give a shit about is winning elections. Right. So give them enough free goodies, let them all stay. If you've ever researched like they say voter suppression. Really, what they're saying is, hey, when you vote, show up with a fucking ID. Like they have a problem with us mandating voting with an ID. Like that's considered discrimination if you have to bring an ID to vote. IDs are like $5. So the fact that they want fraudulent voting, they want immigrants voting, they want people voting twice, they want people voting out of district. They just want to win every election. They want to plunge us into some, collectivist oligarchy where the lefties just run shit moving forward. So that's we could get.
Well, that's what Antifa says. I mean, Antifa's like, we want to have a collective, blah blah blah. We want to eventually be a communistic society. And these dumbass kids have no freaking idea. They never were raised in a communistic society. They never read Alexander Solzhenitsyn's Gulag Archipelago. They have no freaking idea what's going on in freaking North Korea, man.
No, dude. And it's easy to think that way. When you strip away all the bullshit, really what they want is they want the government to point a gun at me and you and steal our shit.
That's all it is.
That's all it is. Like, I majored in gender studies. I can't find a job. I'm living in mom's fucking basement. Can you steal those assholes' money and give it to me, or steal their property and give it? That's all. It's theft. It's theft by gun. It's at the end of a gun. And so, yeah, they have nothing, and I'm sorry for that, but that's either their fault or their parents' fault. It's not my fucking fault. Like, right. So no one told you to major in gender studies. You should have majored in fucking engineering. You're bad, not mine.
Exactly. Yeah, maybe they shouldn't have got a degree in gay art therapy. I don't know.
You have blue fucking hair and you riot and loot and you wonder why you can't find a job. It's not that mysterious. It's not complicated.
And you got like neck tattoos and you have piercings on your face.
Dude, have you seen these people? Like when you pull off the masks, have you seen what we're dealing with? The fucking geeks. Like, I don't know how else to say it. These are the people, like, they've gotten wedgies for 25 years and they're pissed that
Have you seen the picture of what they did to one Antifa member?
Which one? The porn star female that got punched in Berkeley?
No.
The guy with the wedgie who they gave the wedgie to?
No. It's even better. They took one guy, they duct taped him to an electrical box sideways, and they put a dildo on his forehead and duct taped that around his head, stuck him to the electrical wall, left him there, and wrote, "I'm a unicorn." Dude, that's what these guys are. These are kids. These are I don't care if they're 40 years old, 50 years old, if they're 20 years old. They're a bunch of children in the way they think. And what it needs, man, I truly believe is for the alpha males that are left in this country to come out and smack the shit out of them.
At this point, it's not even us showing aggression. At this point, it's self-defense. If you look at each Berkeley incident that's occurred since, I think, let's use Milo's as the first one.
Yeah.
If you start at Milo's and you look at each one individually, it's the same thing. It's these communists who wear masks, show up, start inciting violence. They're either beating people, lighting fires. They were one of them. They were throwing like M80s at people's heads and shit. Like they were throwing, and M80s are pretty powerful. So
yeah.
they're
Class 4 explosive.
One guy they hit with like a bike lock and a sock. Like they're at this, and I think that's what, like when Ann Coulter canceled it, and Gavin and Lauren Southern and the rest of them went up there. I think that's what kind of what everyone's doing. Like, you know what? I think we're just going to start fighting back. Like, you're fucking geeks, and we're just going to beat the shit out of you now.
That's left. It's these guys need to have the shit kicked out of them wherever they go. Period.
Well, because the cops just stand by and watch. It's weird. It's not weird because we saw the same thing with the Black Lives Matter riots and the Pussy Hat looting and riot. So I think Obama in the 8 years created some culture, and you saw it come to fruition the last 2 years, where looting and rioting is now considered protesting. If you're a lefty, we're just going to call it protest, and the media covers it as protesting, and it's labeled protesting, when in actuality they are just destroying property, setting fires, beating people, pulling people out of cars, lynching people, and they're just labeling it protesting. And I think that's why Trump got elected, and I think people now that's why they're fighting back. They're like, and again, once you unmask these people in Seattle, in Portland, at all these, in Berkeley, you unmask them, you're like, holy shit, these are the guys.
Put the mask back on. Put the mask back on.
No, you're like, these are the guys who got stuffed in fucking lockers in high school. Like, it makes sense. Like, all right, they're fucking geeks, and I hate using that word, but it's the only thing I could think of. They're the geeks. Like, oh my God, my Starbucks barista is trying to hit me with a lock right now. Like, that's what's going on.
Basically.
Yeah, and so I never. If it's self-defense, it's allowed. I mean, I don't. You hate that it's gotten this far, but what am I supposed to do? Let them, rape my girlfriend and beat me and make me watch? Like, I don't know what else.
This ain't France, that's for sure.
Yeah. That's funny that you pulled out that stat. Most famous porn in France.
It's Cuss. It's like, it's disgusting. It's like the men in Paris. They just walk around like a bunch of androgynous little sniveling, self-loathing cucks, bro.
No, it's bad. It's bad.
The Swedish girls are saying they're willing to marry any guy just to get the hell out of Sweden.
Yeah, well, yeah, I've actually
especially American men.
I've seen that. People are trying to get out because. Yeah. And can you blame them? Yeah, it's like,
I mean, in Sweden, socialistly loving Sweden, their governments can't protect them, their men can't protect them. Like, what is a logical woman with some sense on her shoulders? What the hell she's gonna do there? Like, if I was a Swedish blonde, I'm gonna get the hell out.
They've disarmed the population, so they take away their weapons, they take away the chance they have to defend themselves from the government or from criminals. So they completely disarm the population. Then on top of that, they don't allow you to speak freely, so they control your speech. They've taken away the First and Second Amendment right. They spy on you. They have no Bill of Rights over there. So yeah. Oh, and by the way, they tax them all in. It's like a 60 or 70% taxed country. So no one acquires any wealth or any generational wealth. There's nothing to pass on to your children because the government's been fucking you your whole life. So there is no Swedish dream, and that's a country that 40 years ago, 50 years ago was, dude, we grew up like Swedish bikini team and beautiful women and
man, it's a shame.
Yeah, and now it's just become this socialist shithole where migrants are raping women and they're stealing your money.
And all the buxom Swedish blondes are gonna be wearing burkinis, bro.
Burkinis. Dude, but it's just a Western thing. People, they call it. We are labeled fascist now for the littlest thing. It doesn't matter any conservative or libertarian principle you have. Their immediate thing is to call you a fascist or a racist or Islam. Hey, I don't like being taxed. You're a racist. Hey, I don't like my city being rioted and looted. You're Islamophobe. What the fuck are you talking? Like, it's all nonsense, dude. It's like I said earlier, it's all linguistics. They control the way we speak. They control the vernacular of the society. And it's that I used to think tell me if you think I'm wrong. I used to think banking was the most important thing in any society, any country, because if you control banking, you control if you control money and credit, you control everything. Yeah. Because you decide who gets capital and who doesn't.
Right.
So I used to think that was number one, but the last 2 years, I'm starting to think media is number one. If you control media and education, you control the way a society thinks.
No, you control the most powerful thing about society, which is culture.
Culture, you control culture, you control communication, you define reality. Like, I'd like to think that we call it Trump derangement syndrome now. I think the media is directly responsible for that. So yeah, they're like, oh, Trump's going to start gassing gays. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? It doesn't matter. Well, that's why you have. I'd like to think that many people in this country aren't purely fucking retarded.
Yeah.
And so I'd like to think their entire reality, their entire political and economic reality, is defined by the half hour of CNN that they watch every night, or the half hour of MSNBC they watch every night. So they're, not to tie it into philosophy and Plato's cave, but there is a direct correlation to it. It's if you could define their input data, what someone receives from media, from school, from whatever, you're defining what is their reality. So there are no more logical arguments. There's no back and forth. There's no Socratic method. There's no us saying, well, maybe taxation is theft. Maybe we should have borders. Maybe there shouldn't be a central bank. There is no back and forth. Their reality is defined. They've been completely indoctrinated. It's all like just a huge propaganda push. And that's why I think it's hard for us to overcome this, because so many people are so deeply fucking brainwashed that it doesn't matter. The media controls their reality, and their teachers, who, again, we just said are like violent Bolshevik fucking revolutionaries. So what chance do you stand about debating someone at a bar who's been fucking programmed for 30 years or 25 years? You're not going to change their mind. You're not going to be able to. Everyone has their own, quote unquote red pill. I remember when mine was. I don't know if you kind of had the same thing, or it was more linear or whatever, but everyone has their own wake up moment. Yeah. And it's usually not by force. It's usually, everyone's light bulb is different. Sometimes it's a dramatic emotional event, or they've hit rock bottom, or blah, blah, blah. But I don't know, man. I don't know if these kids I don't know if they want to belong to something. And I don't know if their moms cut off their balls because both them and their dads were pussies. I don't know. I can't.
That's what it is, man. When I see most of these, dude, it's terrible. I think there's a whole entire war against the male species. And when I walk through the shopping malls and whatnot, and I see these young kids and the boys, I mean, they're all walking around with boobs. They all look soft. That's the whole thing. Like when you and I are the same generation, I mean, we're like a year or two apart. And when we were growing up, man, everybody was like, we were hard as nails, bro.
Dude, I grew up on Archie Bunker and fucking Rambo, dude. Like,
hell yeah, bro.
Yeah, my grandpa beating me with a fucking cane. Like, I didn't have time to bitch. I was washing dishes at the fucking restaurant when I was fucking 7. Like, I didn't have time to yell about, hey, this is child abuse. Like, all right, great fucking story. Get to work. Like,
exactly.
So, and yeah, there's different variations of that, but like, dude, I notice the same shit you notice. It doesn't matter if it's like walking through an airport and seeing some poor fucking bastard holding like 6 pieces of luggage while his like girlfriend or wife's drinking like a latte and fucking yelling at him. Like the poor guy has no fucking ball. Yeah, no balls, completely emasculate. You see this, like you were referencing, you see the same thing with fucking kids. What makes me sicker than anything is the dudes that show up. They call them white knights or white knighting.
God, yeah.
It's the guys who show up at the women's rallies, like supporting them. Like, let them talk. Our job as men is to shut up and listen. Like, it's guys who can't get laid, so they have to. It's the same guys you see that have more girlfriends than guy friends. They don't. Guys like that's their only. They either don't have. They're either physically weak, intellectually weak, financially weak.
It's what Gavin McGinnis said when Gavin had Copper Cab on. That idiot. One of the best interviews I've ever seen. You got to go see it. Did you see it?
Oh, dude, I've seen it. The crazy redheaded kid.
Yeah.
with the man boobs that he's drinking like Mammy's tea.
He's drinking his Mima got some sweet tea.
He's like, dude, you're never gonna get laid. Yeah, women's vaginas dry up at this shit. You're never gonna get laid. But that's the angle a lot of these fucking beta males play. They play the white knight. I'm the white and shining. Masculinity is toxic. You are so right. Blah blah blah. Dude, it's so. But these are the same people. These are the same guys you see who have like hissy fit temper tantrums like women. Right. Like they're not controlled. They were
raised by their mothers, bro. They're raised by their mothers. There's no positive male role model in their upbringing. There's no templates whatsoever.
Dude, you are 100% spot on. There's not a shred of fucking John Wayne or Clint Eastwood or Sinatra in those motherfuckers. No, it's bad. But that's the way society's. It seemed, unless me and you are just getting old, and it's become to us it becomes exaggerated.
God help us, man. Like, what are we gonna do with our kids? I mean, I don't know if you got daughters or whatnot, but I sit there and I'm like, who the hell is my kid gonna marry? God damn, all these boys are freaking useless.
Dude, I don't have children, knock on wood, that I'm aware of. But I've been on a few spring breaks. Obviously, there might be a little Grecian Jose outside of Cancun, Mexico. I have no idea. But I have my two brothers.
There's a swarthy Mexican somewhere, and he has a penchant for gyro.
Yeah, there's a gyro stand in Cabo that has my name written all over it. Dude, I have nieces and nephews, and I could even see like both my brothers have kids and they have wives, and their wives are, one of them's kind of conservative, but the other one's like a mass liberal. So we do our best to avoid those. Dude, it's bad. And but I could tell what she's doing to gosh, hopefully she doesn't listen to this. I'm gonna start a fight on Christmas. But I could tell like they try to, even she tries to feminize my two nephews. And I don't think they've confused being a gentleman with being a pussy. Like you could still be a gentleman and have balls.
Exactly, and not be a pussy.
Yeah, look at the movie. I always point to the movie Braveheart. Like if you want
1,000%,
a gentleman, romantic, but God, he will chop your fucking head off if you fuck with him. Like so, that William Wallace is a great example of that. Like you could be a gentleman, you could be courteous, you could be chivalrous, but you don't have to be a fucking pussy. Like
don't be a bitch,
dude. It's just that simple. Don't be a bitch. Don't be a bitch, dude. We're guys. Like this is what we do. We play poker and bust balls and swear at each other, and this is just what we do. Like
that's what we do. We rough and tumble. That's how it
is. It's about being a man. Like I don't know how else to explain it to these guys, but I couldn't imagine having daughters, dude. The only advice I would give you is teach them how to shoot.
Yeah, that and MMA, bro. That's a silly thing.
Yeah, have them drop Ronda Rousey bombs on people's heads.
It's funny. It's like my little one knows. It's like luckily she relies on daddy. She'll wander off into like we always keep watch on her. So one time we were out at Barnes and Nobles, and my wife was like, "Honey, don't go far nowhere." And my little girl looked at my wife and said, "Don't worry, mommy. If somebody will take me, daddy will smash them." I was like, yeah.
Dude, that's awesome. But here,
whoever you have 5'11", 260-pound gorilla on them real quick.
Dude, here's what I could tell you though. She's got a strong father.
Yeah.
So she will look for a strong man.
Exactly. And that's the whole thing.
Well, and that's me and my buddy we were taught, not to go back to Europe, but like the Italian and Greeks kind of men still being men and women still being. Dude, the women in Greece and Italy are like beautiful as shit, like naturally beautiful. And
dude, I know. I have a Mediterranean swarthy wife myself. I know how it is.
Dude, and here's the thing. They're like cool as shit too. And they're like, they actually are attracted to
the masculine men.
Yes, because I think it ties into what we were just saying about your daughter. they had strong male fathers.
Exactly.
So their fathers were strong masculine men. So I think they're going to be attracted to. Where if your father is like if your mom is constantly backhanding your fucking dad and he's this bitch, like that's what they're going to look for. They're like, well, I need to find some fucking sucker that I could backhand when I feel like it. Like, so I think our parents do lay out what's normal for us.
Exactly.
So there has to be some sort of shift, man. There has to be. But dude, I think we underestimate. I think the media and movies and culture try to prop up all this shit, and I think sometimes we underestimate, me, you, the other guys in our sector. We underestimate there still are masculine men. I think, for fuck's sake, we did just vote Trump in, right? So
hell yeah, he's an alpha man.
Yeah, I think there still is that masculinity in our culture. I just think that what's popular, what they try to prop up to the zeitgeist to popularize it, is being a pussy.
Yep.
Again, I haven't lost hope. But if we have to go to Singapore, we have to go to Singapore.
Hey man, ain't nothing wrong with that. It's a beautiful place.
Yes, there is a plan B in place if it goes that way.
My buddy Jim Rogers there. Jim's always telling me, V, why don't you come down now, V? See, I'm here sitting in the beach in Singapore, V. I'm having a platypus sandwich, and you should join me, V.
Dude, I heard your last interview with him, dude. Well, job well done. And what I like most about him is, and I owe him
a couple of blue labels.
Dude, he always does this. First of all, it's not bullshit. The guy's smart as shit. Like,
hell yeah.
Yeah, and Yale by way of Alabama. So yep. The guy's educated up the ass. He's made money off the charts. He's smart as shit about economics, history, etc. But he's so goddamn humble. He's so goddamn humble. Yes. Like he never boasts about it. There's never a sense of, he's just cool about it. He's like, I don't know what's going to happen. Ask you. You should be the one telling me what's going to happen. So yep. He's always awesome like that. And you did a great job. It was a great interview, by the way.
He's a great guy. Jim's an awesome guy. He's just the kind of guy you can just hang out with all day and just have good laughs, good food, good drinks with. Just a first-class gentleman, bro. First class all the way. And how ballsy. This guy retired at like, 34, 33? And he just traveled the world, man. He went on motorcycle tours all over the place. I mean, that's just ballsy, cool stuff, man.
Yeah, dude, and he authors stuff. He's on once in a while. I mean, he made his money and he actually enjoyed it. And I love the way he always says, he's like, the greatest gift you could give to your children is having them speak Mandarin or teaching them how to speak Mandarin. But yeah, he seems like a great family guy and sharp as shit and humble as shit. And the fact that dudes like that or a guy like that would end up settling in Singapore tells me a lot. Like
it does.
Well, because he could live anywhere in the world. He could live literally he could live anywhere in the world he wants, and he's like,
he's a billionaire. He could live anywhere he wants.
Yeah, this is where I want my kids raised. Like this is the culture I want. This is where I want my kids raised. This is where I see the future. I think maybe not verbatim, paraphrasing. Asia will own the next 100 years. Yeah. Which again, only time will tell. But the indicators are that it's going to. Going to.
It definitely is, man. Especially now with China developing the One Belt, One Road. You got the new Silk Road coming up. It's integrating everything. There's over 77 countries that have signed on for it. The AIIB, the gold-backed trade settlement, gold being the center of trade. The whole world's moving on from this Western, paper-driven, debt-addicted, bullshit economy, phantom mirrors, smoke and mirrors, pomp and circumstance bullshit. And they're getting into real tangibles, man. And that's what it is. I mean, China's winning the world without firing one shot. And what are we doing? We're just running around everywhere dropping bombs.
Well, yeah, because war is profitable for the people who are involved in it, and it screws the rest of the country. And China is not perfect, but by no means it's a one-party communist system. But they're smart to the extent that they don't get involved in other people's shit. They go wherever they go. Doesn't matter if it's Africa or the Middle East or whatever. They'll work out super beneficial trade deals. They know what they're doing. A lot have argued that their banking system's way too highly levered, and they're going to have their 2008 their Lehman moments coming up. And that's okay. That's part of, again, they've only been doing this capitalist game for 20 or 30 years. So there'll be bumps in the road, corrections, but even as America got built up to the greatest economy in the world, there were bumps in the fucking road. I mean, it wasn't you could point to however many recessions and depressions from 1850 to 1950. So there's going to be a learning curve, but the money of the planet, the capital flows of the planet are pointing that direction. Hands down, without question. India, Singapore, China, Hong Kong, South Korea, money is just flying in that direction. They're hard, dude. They're smart as shit. They're hardworking as shit. They're they're savers. They are a disciplined people.
They are.
And I think, and maybe I'm overanalyzing, I think part of it comes from struggle. Mm-hmm. Like they're not pampered. We've had it so good for so long that there hasn't been a generation struggling since the Great Depression, the greatest generation, World War II and the Great Depression. We've had it so good for so long that might be, it kind of ties in what we were talking about, why the millennials are such sniveling pussies. Like they didn't struggle, their parents didn't struggle, blah, blah, blah. So, but you pull up a picture of like Harvard, MIT math tournament, and it's all Asians, dude. Yep. It's all Asians. It's all Indians.
Well, Indians and Chinese and Koreans.
Yeah,
those kids get penalized on their SATs. They get like a certain percentage of points taken off for being Indian or Korean or Chinese.
Isn't that the most fucked up thing? Which that's why whenever liberals argue, like, testing is culturally biased, and I'm like, how about fucking Asians? They're like, Asians don't count. It's like,
and they say white privilege. Meanwhile, the most economically successful race in the country right now are Indians. They're averaging about $110,000 a year.
Dude, whites are like number 14 or something.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's Persians, Jewish, Chinese, Indians. Come on, these are all liberal myths.
You better check your white male privilege there, buddy.
No, they're when you pull up those Ivy League or Caltech or MIT, when you pull up those departments, especially math, science, engineering, dude, it's dominated by foreigners. Yeah. And that's why I laugh when I hear IQ tests are culturally biased or SATs are culturally biased. I'm like, how the fuck are they culturally biased if they're dominated by people not from our culture, asshole? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? You can't, numbers are numbers. You can't, like, math is racist now. Like, it's all fucking insane. Like, they have to somehow throw enough propaganda at facts and they try to erase them.
Well, I mean, anything objective is considered racist, man. Anything objective truth, all objective truth has to be diminished. We're all supposed to be in this gray muck, this confusing gray muck, monitored by a bunch of these oligarchs sitting on the top of this entire pyramid, man. That's what this whole thing is about.
Well, yeah, dude. Science only matters when they're arguing global warming. Any other time it works to their disadvantage. It doesn't matter if you're talking about fucking IQ scores or SAT scores or any single mathematical metric you could throw in their direction. If it doesn't fit their political, or transgender people, like you go to any Ivy League biology department and try to get a professor to say there's gender is a social construct. No, it's not. It's just fucking biology. So,
exactly.
But that's where science doesn't meet with their narrative. Darwin is now fucking racist or whatever. I don't fucking know. They demonize anyone who doesn't fit in their political ideology. Yep. So yeah, we'll see how it all plays out.
Exactly, man. Well, dude, we're at the end of the show. I can't believe it's over just like that. Why don't you plug your site and also tell us real quick about perpetual assets and how people get involved in saving their 401k from the paper scam that it is and getting into a hard asset.
Perpetualassets.com. Even if you Google perpetual assets, it'll be the first 50 results that pop up. We do standard gold and silver, but what we really specialize in is LLC IRAs, which basically allows clients to take retirement money, any type of retirement account they have, we transfer it over to a LLC IRA and allows clients to buy physical silver and gold. It allows clients to buy Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies. It allows clients to buy almost any other asset class too. You could become as mainstream with it as you want. If you want to buy commodity, Forex markets, COMEX markets, equities market, whatever, excuse me, whatever asset class you want to play in, including cryptocurrency and gold, that's what we set up for you. We set up a little asset management firm or holding company that you are running. Your retirement account runs this firm and you are managing it. So you decide. We don't try to convince you to buy anything. We just structure everything so you could buy almost anything you want and take total control of your retirement account. But that's our primary bread and butter.
Absolutely. And with that being said, guys, thank you all for listening in. First inaugural broadcast of Cuss with Gus. And I hope you all liked it, enjoyed it. Hell, we had a lot of fun, bro. Thank you so much for doing this, man. And, dude, I can't wait to do this again with you next week.
Always a pleasure, man. Always a pleasure.
Always. Take it away, CJ.